I served in the Army for almost 7 years, and this is what I can tell you about UFOs. Hey, welcome back to the channel where this generic white guy gives you his perspective on all things life, culture, crisis, commentary, whatever. Today, it's aliens. There's a ship behind me. Look, I wasn't super high class, espionage, crazy Secret Service in the military. I served as a medic, but I did have top secret clearance, which sounds so much sexier than what it really is. Do you guys want to know? Do you want to know how you get top secret clearance while serving the Canadian Armed Forces? I'm about to tell you. Stick around. Here's what happens, okay? So I was on pre-deployment training for a deployment that our unit was scheduled to go on in Afghanistan. And so part of that and part of being a medic is you have to get top secret security clearance. Here's what happens. You show up to work one day, your CO comes and grabs you and he says, "Hey, Heneghan, you're slated for top secret clearance. Go see the clerk." "Yes, sir." So I march down to the clerk, stand there awkwardly waiting for her to notice me. Finally, she begrudgingly does so, does one of these. So I go over to the counter and I'm like, "Yeah, it's Corporal Heneghan. I'm just here to try and get top secret clearance." Hands me a sheet of paper. I fill out the sheet of paper. It's got demographic information, unit information, etc., etc. I hand it back into her. That's it. That's it. That's how I got top secret clearance in the Army. That's literally, there's no course, there's no special training, there's no hand-to-hand, there's no Jason Bourne, okay? You fill out a form, they give you top secret clearance, you're good to go. and then it's put on your file, it's put on your record, so when you go somewhere, people know, hey, this guy's got top secret, okay? That's it. That's how sexy that is. But here's what I'll say about UFOs and the unknown when it comes to being in the military. In the military, we do a lot of field exercise. Okay, we go to a lot of remote places to do these exercises, right? Sometimes you do it close to civilian areas and populated areas, but for the most part, they like to send you way the hell out into Timbuktu nowhere, and you conduct your exercises there. So one day, I am in a place called Suffield, Alberta. Suffield, Alberta is a decent little place. Let me see if I can bring it up for you here. Let's see. Bear with me 2 seconds. Suffield. Here it is. Suffield, Alberta. So this is Suffield, Alberta. Okay. This is the Canadian Forces base. There's a military base out there. This is the land scape that it looks like. You can kind of see over my head there. And this is I believe this is the base. Base of the town. Yeah, base. There's the airfield there. It's a lot of nothing, man. You're surrounded by a lot of nothing. It's kind of a cool looking base at first, but it's a lot of nothing. There's a lot of nothing out there. But it's huge. The training area is huge. It is a mammoth training area. A lot of CBRN training and stuff like that. That's cool. This is on Google. That's fun. That's definitely relevant to Suffield. Anyway, a lot of time spent in remote locations. And when you're in a remote place at nighttime, there's no ambient light, there's no cell towers, you're just out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. You have a big, beautiful canvas above you. And you're sleeping out under the stars most times, especially if you're dismounted with one of the recce units or artillery units or infantry units just doing stuff. And so you get a big view of the sky. And I'll say this, most of what I saw in the sky was easily explained by satellites, right? Just saying, oh, there's a satellite, right? And I would speculate, majority of what we see most times in the sky are satellites. There are 14,900 satellites and counting up in the sky right now. if you had seen Starlink in the 90s, people would have been like, oh, that's a spaceship. Holy crap, that's aliens. Oh my God, UFO. UFO, or UAPs as they're starting to call them. Unidentified flying object. Basically something that's airborne that you can't quite identify by saying that's a helicopter, that's a plane, it's a kite, that's a Superman, it's a bird, it's a plane. That's all. That's all it is. Have I ever seen one of these things? No, I haven't. Would make the video so much cooler if I had, but I haven't. About the strangest thing I've ever seen in the sky comes on two instances. One was actually fairly recently, which I'll get to, but the first one was when I was in the military and I was in Suffield, Alberta, looking at that big, beautiful sky while taking a 3 a.m. piss in the cold, dewy grass. And I look up and I see it looks like a shooting star, right? Or a satellite. It's just going overhead. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Sitting there pissing on myself. And I see this thing flying overhead. But it kind of slows down. It wasn't going one consistent speed. It slowed down and then kept going. And then I was like, oh, it's a helicopter. But then I was like, wait, helicopters don't go that high, you idiot. And I just hit myself with the microphone. Scared the shit out of me just now. Oh my God. I shouldn't be trusted to do this. Anyway, dear God. I think if you go back through a bunch of videos, I do that a lot. I just don't acknowledge it. I just kind of brush it off. And it didn't happen. That one really happened. So I was looking up and I see this thing and then I'm like, yeah, there's no way that's a helicopter. It's way too high. It's just a ball. It's just a tiny little speck kind of moving weirdly. And then it went a different direction, right? It was going crossways with the way I was looking at it. And then it went a different way. And I was like, wait a minute. That is bizarre. And I still can't explain to you what it is. But I'm more of, when I try to rationalize things, I'd like to try and say, you know what? It's in all likelihood, it was a satellite. And the only reason I say that isn't because satellites just magically change directions and stuff, but like, you got to think how far away that is optically, right? And I don't have the best binos to begin with. So when I'm looking up at this thing, how far away it is, it may not have really changed directions. I just might have thought that it changed direction. Like it may have appeared to change directions to me. It's entirely possible, right? Still can't explain it to you, but that's a weird thing that I saw. It's a weird thing that I experienced. With respect to the second thing that I saw most recently, there's this weird, it almost looks like a plane. By that, I mean it blinks and has blinky lights to it. But it's completely stationary. And I was alerted to it by a buddy of mine. We're playing video games together. And I hear his wife go, oh, that thing's in the sky again, over the mountain. And he starts telling me about it. And I was like, which mountain? Because he lives really close to me. And so we can pretty much see the same mountains from either house. And so well, which mountain? And he tells me, and I go outside and I look, and I was like, oh yeah, there it is. That's a plane. It's a helicopter. That's not moving at all. And it's completely stationary, and it's way higher than any mountain, right? It's not just a light on top of a tower. It is way higher than that. Like same sight line as stars. It's not lower than every other. Like it's up there. But it makes this weird, glowing, changing colors thing. And I know stars twinkle. They made a whole song about it. But it's different than that. It's a different shimmer than that. It really does change color. Now it's going through the atmosphere, right? Things change color. It could happen optically again. It's weird. But I can't explain it to you. I can't tell you what it is. I can't tell you that I can easily dismiss it, because if it was a star, for example, then on a clear night, the next night, it should theoretically be in the same area. It's not. It's not. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. I haven't seen it again since, and it's been like several weeks now. Haven't seen it again. I keep looking because I took my telephoto lens and I zoomed in, and Didn't get anything. It was too far away, too much atmosphere, right? Atmosphere fog, stuff like that. I couldn't get in. I don't know if it's aliens, man. Here's the thing. I battle with this a lot. I try to rationalize things. I don't know if it's aliens. Especially, like, I don't know if it's the aliens that we think of as aliens, little gray guys with huge black eyes and stuff. And the reason that I'm skeptical of that is because I heard one day, somebody much smarter than me. I think it was like a Neil deGrasse Tyson or somebody of that vein, right? Somebody within that ilk. And they said, if these aliens that people describe, if they look the way they do, or the way that we describe them, if they look like that, then either we would have to have descended from them, or they would have to have descended or evolved from us. Right? The hands are in same placement as ours. Nostrils are said to be in the same kind of place. They have the same eyes up in the same area. Like, so biologically, we have a lot of similarities. And so therefore, we would have to be connected in some way. And there's nothing, anthropologically speaking, that we have found so far to indicate that we would have evolved into space-age creatures, or that we have devolved from space-age creatures, because we look at it in terms of evolution, right, where we evolved from. And there are anthropological evidence of these things, not these aliens, but of us. Now, there's stories and unknown things. There's a lot of unknowns, right? Most of science is unknown. It's just a theory. But I don't know. I don't know if it's the gray guys, man. I don't know if it's the gray guys that have a fetish with buttholes. I don't know if that's the case. I can't tell you that. I wish I could, but I can't. In the military, I did speak to pilots, right? I asked them all the time because I love alien stuff. I'm so curious. So I remember asking a guy, I was like, we're sitting there getting coffee in the tent one day. We're in Hinton, Alberta. I was getting coffee, and this guy looks like freaking Maverick, by the way, which is not fair. You can't be good looking and be a pilot. Like, get the fuck out of here. But there he is, real life Tom Cruise, 6'2" as a pilot. Like, get fucked, buddy. And so I'm sitting there talking to him, and I'm like, hey man, have you seen any weird shit as a pilot? Like, you ever seen spacecraft, or have you flown any spacecraft? Come on, give me the inside scoop, man. I'm a medic. I'll treat you well. I got Tylenol. You like Tylenol? I got Tylenol. I got some ibuprofen. You like that? Stay hydrated. But he was like, yeah, he explained that he had seen some weird stuff in the sky. He thought it was like sun flares at one point, just this weird kind of orb at some point. And he couldn't explain it. Didn't really sensationalize it either. And then it's funny because years later, when now all this stuff is coming out where pilots are talking about disclosure and talking about the things they'd seen in a little Tic Tac video and all that, it's pretty interesting to see those things come out and marry that up to the conversations I had with him. I was way too low on the totem pole within the military to ever be given any sort of real information. And I don't even know if Canada has much information on UFOs. I'd like to think that they probably have, higher amount of information than the general public does, much like the US, I'm sure interagencies talk to one another about that sort of thing, but, So on the rationalized side of me, I don't know if it's the little gray guys, but also the universe is so huge that it seems so incomprehensible to me that we're the only ones that argue over Facebook in the entire galaxy, right? Like, maybe that's where half the arguments come from, is some dude on Beta Reticula 9 sending, well, I don't think that's, I don't think that's how it goes at all. Blue isn't really blue. It's green. Because they'll argue about anything on the internet. And half the time you think you're arguing with people from outer space because some of their opinions are so mind-numbingly stupid. They're like, you can't possibly be real. Like, how do you get by without pre-chewed food? I don't understand how you exist. But they do. They do. So I don't know. I think there's probably life out there. Have we seen it? Has it come here? I don't know, man. I'm more of the mind to think that the stuff we see in the sky that we can't understand and that we don't know, I'm more inclined to believe it's technology, that it's stuff that we have advanced and just have not released yet, either for a multitude of different reasons. Maybe it's not perfected. Maybe it's just still being worked on. Maybe it's too dangerous to really reveal to the public. Maybe it's got some health risks, right, to the pilots. Maybe pilots are dying. I don't know. There's so many weird little things. And now, right now, we're living in an age where we got a guy like Donald Trump. The way that guy talks, man, is insane. I know about aliens. I've seen aliens. Not real aliens. Couple aliens. They come across the border. Close that down real quick. But no, aliens, I got some interesting things. Going to release some reports. Going to do the things there. I'll tell you one thing. They're not on the Epstein files. I don't know. Seems weird to have this guy being the dude that's going to reveal aliens to us if that's the case. But they're talking about disclosure, right? Disclosure. That's the one word they keep using over and over. Is disclosure, 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 disclosure. Cool. Okay, disclosure. We get it. I don't think it's going to be this big. There are aliens. These are aliens. What it's going to be most likely is we don't know. They're not ours. They're not China's. They're not Russian. We don't know. We're looking into it. We don't know what they are. They could be drones, and they could be drones. With the rise of drones and drone technology, they could well be. I mean, do you remember back when, I can't even remember when exactly it was, but Biden was still in office. You remember those drones flying over New Jersey and stuff, and people were saying they were like the size of cars? Remember that? Those kind of things? Where the hell did that go? Right? I remember when Trump got in office, he says he was going to reveal it, and then he says, oh yeah, it turns out they're ours. They're just American drones. They're just drones. Weird. Okay. That seems like something that would be useless to keep hidden, So I don't know why it took Trump getting in office to kind of say. So I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns, man, and sometimes it's okay to not have the answers. Okay, Marcus Aurelius said that you don't have to have an answer for everything. It's okay to not have an opinion. I do have opinions. I got more questions than I do like stances on this. I'm skeptical of the gray big-eyed aliens. I'm skeptical. I'll say that. But there are some compelling cases and compelling reasons to believe that aliens and space-aged entities have been or are on Earth. Bob Lazar is a pretty compelling case. There's this documentary called Age of Disclosure on Amazon Prime that I just watched. Really great show. Makes you question a lot of things. I'm going to watch S4 here coming up soon. Another Bob Lazar documentary. And Bob Lazar is an interesting case study, right? Because, he didn't really stand to gain a whole lot by revealing the stuff that he did. In fact, he stood to lose more than he gained. And in fact, as time went on, he did lose a lot, right? They discredited him. They said, no, he never worked there. He never went to this school. He never graduated here, et cetera, et cetera. And it would have behooved him to either give up the ruse or, start selling the ruse. And he did neither of those things. So he's an interesting case study. I'm not like a behavioral therapist, and I'm not like a behavioral specialist, body language specialist. More like, he's lying. Those guys on YouTube that claim that they do that, but they wear like those weird off-colored sunglasses that you can still see through. They're just kind of pale tan. They're like, well, you could tell by the way he hiccuped that he killed those 6 people. Fucking really? That's incredible, Serpico. That's amazing. Listen, I don't have the answers. I wish I did. I'm like you. I have a lot of questions. I can tell you that in the military, yeah, you go out to remote places and you see some weird things. You see some weird things in the sky at night, especially when you were that far removed from civilization. Weird things, not super explainable. Not super explainable. The orbs and stuff, yeah, I would say that's closest to what I've seen. Like glowing orbs, things that glow a little bit brighter than a star, move a little bit more oddly than a satellite. That's my UFO experience, right? I don't really have anything more than that. I've never been briefed on anything more than that. I've heard some weird tales from people that were in Afghanistan. I've heard some weird stories come out of there. There's people I follow on YouTube that are like kind of cryptozoologists, and they have weird stories about Afghanistan. And a buddy of mine has stories about Sasquatch, and he like swears by it, like absolutely swears by it. And he doesn't run around promoting the story. He doesn't run around trying to get attention for the story. He just kind of has this really unsettling experience that happened to him when he was younger. And he tells it in such a way that I believe that this happened to him. Can't explain it to you. All right. Could it have been a erect grizzly bear just walking on hind legs? Maybe. But could it have been Sasquatch? Also, maybe. Could there be little gray aliens? Maybe. Have we been visited by space creatures? Maybe. I don't know. It's fascinating to think about. It's intriguing to think about. It'd be kind of neat to, if this is the case, if disclosure is real and they give us the actual, it'd be kind of neat to be able to talk or to get information from a space-aged nation that has evolved to the point where they can travel through space and bend gravity and time and things like that. But the reason I'm skeptical about all this, because if you look at the ship behind me, right, it's very sleek and very cylindrical like a Frisbee. To me, it's very man-made. It's very man-made. It's very man-conceptualized. The way we design things and conceive things seems very man-made. It's very tangible. It's very symmetrical. It's very, appealing to look at. Sleek and silver sexy, We love chrome. We love shiny. And these are all characteristics of UFOs that we see. And then as time goes on and we get more into the LED culture, now they're all glowing. Now they have this weird orby lights and changing lights and reflecting lights, and they could do all kinds of backflips and, triple sow cows, things like that. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what's going on. I don't have the answers for you. I'm just a generic white guy over the internet, as I said at the beginning. But if that's your sort of thing, subscribe. I don't know, guys. Did I learn anything in the military about UFOs? Specifically, no. Did I see some weird things when I was in the military? Absolutely. Do I see weird things now that I'm in my 40s and out of the military? Yeah, I have. I experienced weird kind of ghostly kind of things when I was a paramedic. Going into weird houses and weird experiences and like some odd stuff that occurred that I can't readily explain to you. Apparently the museum in my town is haunted, and I experienced some weird things there. Maybe I'll talk about that in a different video, but I can't readily explain it to you, even though I try to rationalize it. I try to be like, it was just an angry raccoon. It was just a raccoon with an attitude problem. One of the unhinged trash pandas, I don't know. Can't explain it to you. Can't explain these frickin' things either. But maybe we'll get disclosure at some point and we can put this thing to bed, or we can say, hey, this was crazy all along. I knew it was nutty. Now let's figure out what the hell's going on. But until then, I'll just see you on the next episode of Matthew Heneghan Unfiltered. Take care, be well, be safe. Keep talking to each other. Come on, subscribe. Come on, you want to just hit the button. Hit the button.